It is Thursday, September 1st, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Producer Dan is along for the ride as well. Can you believe we have hit September? We've got do we have any call-ups on the show today?
What?
Do we have any call-ups on the show?
Like, do we have anybody that works for us that we're going to call up? Hell no. No one earned anything on this show. You stay down in the bushes.
Make them playoff eligible for our John Boy Media October run.
After your take on the Dodgers yesterday, we had to send you down, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
The opposite.
People really love that. Really, really love that. It is September. You know what? I always feel really good as a baseball fan. When we get to September, it's like now it feels like a sprint.
100%. Like, we're here. There's good races in baseball. I'm sure we'll talk about a few of them today. But we have the extra month in October, so that kind of, or extra week in October. So that kind of, puts a damper on our race a little bit. It lengthens it, I guess. But you're right, man. This is the time where the sense of urgency gets real. I don't want to hear from Yankees fans anymore. We're not taking August seriously. No shit, you didn't take August seriously. Did you look at your record? You better start going now.
They have,
Man.
I think they're going into September, their lead over Tampa is just 6 games, which I believe is their smallest since early June. So who knows? Could get interesting. I'll let you know by September 15th if it's something to be watching. But let's start with New York's other team. I begged Timmy Trumpet to get his shot. I was like, I implored him. I heard that he was going to stick around another day for his second Major League Baseball game. Well, guess what? Not only did he stick, he starred as well. Going today. More. Yes. Yes.
Gets me fired up.
Is it possible that Timmy Trumpet was overrated?
Overrated? No. What are you talking? This was dream scenario for Timmy Trumpet. He says, you know what? I flew all the way here. I'll stay one more night. The Dodgers spoiled the dream his first night at the ballpark. The next night, Jacob deGrom delivers and makes a perfect scenario for him to come in. And then Edwin Diaz comes and shuts the door. Nimmo saves the game with the catch. I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect. And I hope, I'm praying now. We've seen this. This works. A lot of closers have great walk-up songs, walk-out songs, whatever they call it, whatever. Let's get some more live performances with this. Can you imagine? What was Rivera's? It was Metallica, right? Sandman, Enter Sandman?
Yeah, Enter Sandman.
Metallica would go do stuff in San Francisco all the time. Why wouldn't they play live in the World Series? Mo coming in. That's electric.
Electric. I mean, every marketing department should be all over this today. Not only was it not overrated, it was underrated.
Yes.
I don't know. The only thing that bothered me is that too many Mets fans were taking videos.
Yes.
Which I understand.
Yes.
But I wanted to see them pumping their fists. I wanted to see that place in unison going 40,000 strong, hands in the air, jumping all around, all that sort of stuff. I understand why people wanted to video it. And I'll be honest with you. Yeah, you do. That's kind of the world we live in. We're voyeurs. I watched like every angle I could find. So Michelle was doing some real estate work in the other room, and she kept hearing the song. And she's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Why are you watching the same video over and over?" I said, "Well, it's not exactly the same video. It's the same sound, just from different angles." She's like, "You're an idiot." But
I'm not going to say if I agree with Michelle or not on that comment.
I agree with her.
Listen, people, as a society, we need to get away from that. I'm sorry. I was about to say the same thing, Chris. The only part of that video and that moment that I did not like was the fact that everyone's just staring at their phone. What are you doing? Look, somebody's going to have that on video. I get you want to show your friends that you were there. You want to have like some freaking, proof that you were there. Take a picture of yourself real quick and the video is going to be out there. We just showed you the best video that you're going to get. You're not going to get any better than the cameras on the field. So let's start living in the moment, people. That happens way too often now at sporting events. It's everyone just filming. It's like, why? What are you filming that for? No one wants to see your fireworks pictures on the 4th of July either. So stop taking pictures of fireworks, people. Like, I don't care if I come out sounding grumpy about this today. I'll die on this hill. We need to stop.
I don't think
Timmy Trumpet is awesome.
I don't think that's grumpy. I think not enough of us live in the moment, and sometimes I'm guilty of it too. I imagine you have been. We all have been. By the way, if you're Steve Cohen, don't you call Timmy Trumpet today and say, listen, dude, you got to be here for every freaking home game. Give me a number, and I'll like Steve Cohen's going to be like, yeah, I don't think that number's going to work. And you better be made. If it doesn't happen for the regular season, he best better be here when they host a divisional round series in October.
I don't think there's any doubt that that's already been worked out. If you're Timmy Trumpet, you get the pay, you get the notoriety, which he's like, that's obviously he's getting shown everywhere today. I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, he is from Australia. That's the one thing. So you got to just like figure out a way to keep him out here. I don't know what his family situation is like, but I'm on board with that. And like we were about to talk about, like other musical acts, let's go. Like, call, because this works. We're always looking for new things in baseball to get people involved. This is one of them, dude. Live music, even for walk-up songs. What if, like, I don't know, like Joe Mauer had T.I. What you know about that every single time for his whole career? Like, that would be sick if T.I. came and actually performed it during his at-bats, right?
Yeah.
Need it.
So, yeah, we'll see him at some point. And by the way, like 5 minutes away over at the U.S. Open, Serena at basically the same time, upending the number 2 player in the world. Like, so that was the epicenter of the sporting globe last night.
Yes.
It was great. And we were treated to an amazing game, which gets us to our second question. You got Nimmo's catch off of Justin Turner, which was unreal. Mookie Betts tied a career high with his 32nd homer for the Dodgers lone run. But more interesting, did you hear what he said about the guy that he took deep in that game, Jacob deGrom?
He's pretty much the best, maybe the best to ever pitch. So it's a tough task.
So maybe the best ever? Is he in the right neighborhood, or is he just being a prisoner of the moment?
Oh, man. I think I'm going to get slammed either way I lean on this. I think it's true. Like, if you watch this guy pitch and you've watched baseball, over the last 20 years, like I have, and you can even go further, like 130, like you have, watching Jacob deGrom pitch, you're watching one of the best to ever do it. His stuff is that good. The numbers back it up as well. I mean, it's very hard to compare pitchers from different eras, and there's been a ton of great pitchers out there. I don't even need to name any of them. You guys know who I'm talking about. Jacob deGrom deserves to be in that conversation. And you got Mookie Betts, who, like, look, you want to take an expert's opinion on everything else in the world? Mookie Betts is a fucking expert at baseball, at hitting and seeing pitchers. He is. And if he's saying it, and a lot of people across the league say it as well, I mean, it's true. He's one of the best pitchers to ever throw a baseball.
He didn't say one of the best.
He said, if not the best.
He's saying the best. He wouldn't have thrown that in there if he didn't mean it. The best. And I think that's why we're focusing on it. It does. So baseball is a sport where you have to have longevity in order to be considered one of the greatest. It's very different than certainly the NFL, where some guys can be considered. It helps if you have longevity, if you have both. But you can be a little bit of a shooting star in that sport, and people are like, yeah, you're a badass. Like Tony Baselli just got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy played 7 years, but he was one of the best offensive linemen ever. Buddy of mine, Terrell Davis, same sort of thing. I think, and I've told you this several times on this show, that I think that the Hall of Fame voters are going to have to look at Jacob deGrom a little differently than they look at Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, CC Sabathia, guys from this era, because he's not going to have the gaudy numbers. Yes, he's got more than 1,500 strikeouts, but the other numbers aren't going to measure up to past Hall of Famers. But when you sit there and you watch him pitch, don't you think Hall of Fame?
I do. He's dominant, Chris. And I think what a lot of people like to do is give 6-7 year stretches of dominance. You can really look at stuff like that. Jacob's going to have that by the time his career is over. Like he's going to have that stretch. Yeah, we hope. But it's going to happen. I'm putting that out there in the universe, Chris. It's going to happen.
Okay.
And like I said, we just got to trust the people who are on the ground. Mookie Betts is one of those people facing this dude, and he's faced a lot of really good pitchers in his day. He's been in the American League. He's been in the National League. He's seen everybody. I trust Mookie. I've actually never faced deGrom. Thank goodness. I don't need that in my life. Scare the shit out of me.
Now, that's something you could talk to a therapist about.
Maybe.
Do you think that Clayton Kershaw went up to Mookie Betts' locker afterward and was like, "Hi, I'm starting tonight. Just wanted to remind you."
That's pretty good. He's one of two. I don't know. I don't think Mookie really was sitting down thinking about, hey, this is my top 5 of all time. It's but he was overwhelmed by how good Jacob deGrom was. And, it's fun when you hit a homer off someone to just be like, yeah, he's really good. He's like a Hall of Famer. Did I touch him up? His 93-mile-an-hour hanging slider? Yeah, I touched him up, but he's a Hall of Famer. I get that. I would do that all the time.
Totally. Makes sense. By the way, deGrom, if you are into the metrics world, he's got a 157 ERA plus, 4th best all time. Mo is number 1. Do you know what Mo's number is on the ERA plus scale?
I can't even imagine. Don't tell me it's a 2.
205.
No.
205 is what it was. By the way, Kershaw's 5th at 155, so he's right behind deGrom.
Oh, well, Mookie, what if Mookie went back to Kershaw and showed him that stat?
There you go, Mook. I did your homework for you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, last year, Jacob deGrom in 15 starts had a 377 ERA plus. So that's whatever.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'll tell you what will help him is if he has a long October run this year. If they win the World Series, that would go an awfully long way toward solidifying that, because people would say, even though he only pitched half a season, he's a huge difference maker.
Hey, I said on this show or Talking Baseball, I don't know, or wherever else I talk about baseball, Jacob deGrom is going to hold Steve Cohen hostage for $50 million a year, and it's going to happen. He made it back in time. He looks great. There's just no way around it. This guy holds every single piece of leverage that you can hold. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that number.
We'll talk more about it in the offseason, but just preliminarily, if I said 5 for 250, do you think I'm on base or off base?
What is that? What's the math there? That's
50 a year.
5 for 250. That's 50 a year. That's not 50 a year, is it?
Yes.
Well, yeah, then yeah, I don't know if he goes that long. I don't know if it'll go that long. 5 years at $50 million a year. I don't know if it goes that long, but I think he could get shorter for 50 a year. I think 3,150.
Okay.
Is realistic.
3,150 or 4,200.
Maybe the option. Maybe 4 or 3,150 with an option for something. I don't know. Okay. But the 50 is a real number, people. It's a real number.
I agree. The Orioles' top prospect and the number 2 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, Gunnar Henderson, not only arrived, he arrived in style yesterday against my Guardians. Second at bat, first big league homer, and on the follow through, the helmet pops off, and we see the luscious locks as he's rounding the bases. Let's just start with that. You will not get more showy than that, correct?
We can say that, yes. I think there's two ways to say this. One is it show the helmet's off, hair's flowing. The other way you could look at it is he didn't have the right size helmet. I mean, the helmet should.
Well, that was the problem.
Yeah,
that was the problem. He said he tried a bunch of them on. He needs to borrow Jose Ramirez's chin strap, because Jose Ramirez is the one who every time he runs around the bases, the helmet flies off. So we need to get him a chin strap.
There's probably a lot of Orioles who are like, hey, Rook, like, get a helmet that fits. Like, let's go, dude. Like, I get it, nice hair, but get a helmet that fits. He's incredible, though. You want to go into the second part, talk about how good this guy is and what impact he can make?
So that's the question that I've got. Confidence that Henderson can be a true difference maker as the O's are trying to make a wild card push.
Confidence, full confidence. I don't know how to rate that. I like his swing. Basically, is how when I see guys come up, especially hitters, young hitters come up, you got to look at like their approach and their swing. I don't like to see a bunch of excess movement. I like to see repeatability, because that allows you to see the ball a little deeper and, gives you a chance to make adjustments. He has that. Like, he has such a short, compact load where he's got, a nice little leg movement. His hands move briefly to get him in the slot, but then they go and they fire. So it's like really compact and short, his load and his setup, and then violent is his swing. And if you look back at his numbers, like, I didn't even know his numbers, but I said, I know this guy like has gotten on base a ton in the minor leagues, like 420 on base percentage this year, like career. I think I had it up. Where is it? He's a career 380 on base percentage in the minors. He just has that ability to see the ball because of his setup, and his swing is repeatable. There's a reason he's one of the top prospects in baseball, is because his swing plays. That's what we'll say. When a guy comes up and it works, his swing plays. He'll be able to make the adjustments that he needs to make. So I guess time will tell if he really makes a difference, but he definitely has the ability to make a difference.
That's exactly the way I see it. He has the ability to make a difference. I also think the fact that Adley Rutschman has kind of paved the way for him a few months prior, a guy that he knows very well from their minor league days together, could help him a little bit to be able to have a guy that's already gone through all this stuff, that has been a number one prospect himself and a franchise saver. I think that's great for him. Kid's got a really nice swing. There's no question. He looks the part. He didn't look overwhelmed when they told him that he was going up to the show. I think he was like, yeah, he's a shortstop. So he's got that shortstop cockiness. And I mean that in a positive way, but they've been moving him around the infield, getting him ready for exactly this time. Yesterday, he was at third base. That's what's going to happen with him, but he should be in that lineup every day. And this, all of a sudden, this team, they're kind of mirroring a little bit of what the Blue Jays have done. Like, I'm curious to see who's that George Springer they add to that lineup in the offseason that can kind of solidify things, because they got something special going there.
Yeah, I mean, the Orioles offensively needed a jolt. Hopefully this is the jolt they needed. He's an Alabama boy, and every Alabama boy that I've ever met does not lack confidence. I'm talking Josh Willingham. I don't know if Donaldson's from there, but he went to Auburn.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Robertson, the pitcher, is from Alabama. Like, these guys, they got confidence, man. I like it. I didn't know he was from Alabama. He's got the long blonde hair. I was like, you could be from Florida. You could be from California. Alabama, when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I like this guy even more.
Interesting. All right. Bigger deal from Wednesday. Josh Hader picked up his first save as a Padre as they swept the Giants in San Francisco. Or Shohei Ohtani became the first player in Major League history with a 30 home run season while winning at least 10 games on the mound.
I mean, it's Shohei. But people hate when I talk about Shohei. I think he's the MVP, and I'm not going to say it's not close, because what Judge is doing is awesome. I get that. Shohei is just in a league of his own in Major League Baseball. There's just no one that can compare to him to what he can do, and I just don't want to hear any other argument. Like, this guy has put up an unbelievable year. He's got an ERA in the 2s. He's got his OPS almost to 9. I think it's like 888 or something like that. 30 homers. There's just no one like him, dude. Like, watch this guy play day in and day out, and your jaw drops every single day. The one thing I did like about Hader getting the save is he actually said after the game, it's a mechanical issue. I've got to figure it out, or I've figured it out, or whatever. He's working on it. Like, we now as fans have a little bit of clarity on that situation. We're like, dude, are you hurt? Is it just a mechanical issue? Is it a mental thing, like moving cities, blah, blah, blah? Like, we really didn't know. And that's, I don't like the unknown in situations like that, because usually it means the worst thing, but a mechanical issue he can fix. And if he does figure it out, man, what a blessing for San Diego if they can get him back right before the playoffs.
So if we're dealing with the here and now, the bigger story is Josh Hader. I saw him warming up in the 8th inning, and I tweeted out, I was like, Josh Hader warming up with a 1-run lead. Basically, let's buckle up. Let's see what he got. And let's remember, even when he was going good in Milwaukee, it really started to hit the shitter for him when he faced San Francisco. They were like his personal bugaboo. And now to get a shot at a save opportunity, your first save against the Giants, and he did it, and it wasn't the cleanest of all innings, right? It started off with a little blooper. He had a wild pitch in there. So he had to deal with a little adversity out there as well. And by the way, you said that he came out and talked about it. It's a mechanical issue. Also, I thought his wife did something really important. She came out and said, I don't know who said it on MLB Network where I used to work, but somebody came out and said that, talked about their child not being entirely out of the woods and all. It was really irresponsible. And I feel badly for the haters. Remember, they had some pregnancy complications, and we never knew what that was about. It was possible that they were dealing with something, and I brought that up on the show, that it's possible they were dealing with something. We didn't know. Somebody actually came out and said, still complications. She was like, I don't know where the fuck you got that from, but that ain't true. He's fine.
Well, that's
Baby's
great.
Fine, which is the biggest news of all. So you can kind of put that off to the side. I don't think that athletes always have to answer, but when we have so much information that's flowing out there and that stuff on people assuming and guessing on social media, I think for you to just be able to come out and say, hey, listen, I'm dealing with something, or I'm dealing with a mechanical issue, I think that works.
I mean, the numbers were there on the mechanical issue. We talked about that pretty extensively on our network, about how his arm angle was a little too high. I need to get back to lower to get that deception back. I want to go back to the Ohtani Judge thing. I mean, the Ohtani thing, but lump Judge in. Sorry, Judge. It sucks that Judge keeps getting lumped into this. He's having a great year. I don't want to take anything away from that. But there's a lot of people around baseball who I respect, who keep going back to saying, take Judge off the Yankees, they'd have trouble making the playoffs. Take Ohtani off the Angels, they're still on the outside looking in. That is flawed logic. Flawed. Put Judge on the Angels, they aren't going to make the playoffs. Put Ohtani on the Yankees, they're going to be in the same position.
I would think so. I mean, we have no facts, but I would. And Michael Kay, who I understand it. Listen, he works for
It's not just Michael Kay. There's a lot of people who have said that.
But Michael came out the other day. You have to live by whatever you tweet, and he tweeted, "Hey, for all the sabermetricians who love Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge has got a better WAR than if you take the pitching and hitting combined." And that's factually accurate. There's no question about it. So if that's how you do your MVP voting, then yes, you can vote for Aaron Judge that way. I do think it's going to be fascinating. There's some people who are like, no, Aaron Judge is going to win this by a huge margin. I don't think so.
Vegas seems to think so. I don't think so either. Like Ohtani, I'm reading the article by my good buddy Rhett, who covers the Angels for MLB.com. Shohei wants to win this award. He wants to play as much as possible to get his numbers up. He wants this award, and that's very, very telling. I thought maybe towards the end of the year that he might rest and the Angels might take it easy on his arm. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to go guns a-blazing towards the end, all the way to the end of the season, and his numbers are getting better and better. He had a great August. If this guy, I mean, Judge hits a homer against the Yankees, and everyone's like, see, he's the MVP. Cole gave up a homer to Ohtani, 2-0 heater. Ohtani puts the team in front, and nobody says anything about that. Like, Ohtani is an absolute animal. I love Aaron Judge. If he wins the MVP, I'm not going to be mad, but I don't think he should win the MVP. I think Ohtani should win the MVP.
And Ohtani almost took Cole deep in the first.
Yeah, fly ball to the warning track.
Yeah, 5 feet short. I mean, it wasn't like, so what I'm saying is it wasn't a meaningless ground out to second base. It was just, he was on it. That's all.
He crushed that heater too. 2-0, dead center, baby.
All right, last thing. We talked a little bit about the Brandon Nimmo catch off of Justin Turner. Bob Costas, who was calling the game last night for MLB Network, circled around when they brought up the Statcast and covered the, degree of difficulty and all sorts of stuff with that. I want you to listen.
Well, here's what Statcast says. I don't believe the catch probability was 50%. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous. If I'm running Statcast, I'm taking someone to task. You're undermining our credibility.
Yes, Bob. Yes.
So is he justified in that response or overheated?
No, he's justified. And Bob is one of the old heads that can talk about the game in the right matter. He can criticize the game without sounding like, old man yelling at clouds type situation. Like he's changed my mind on a few different things. He's right here. I think the reason that ball was a 50-50 ball is I think all that Statcast does is take like the time the ball's in the air, where it goes, and then where every center fielder on average plays, and then across all the parks, and then that gives that number. But Nimmo wasn't playing where every center fielder plays, and that wasn't every single park. Like that was a home run, and he had to go rob it. Like there's just a lot of things that I guess Statcast doesn't take into consideration. That's my guess here, but he's totally right. Like that's a stupid number for that ball. That's a 10% catcher right there.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, sometimes I think Statcast fucks with our eyes a lot. And I have the same problem on, we have a similar system for the NFL. And so when I do the highlight shows on Sunday, it'll say an amazing catch. It'll say like he had a 22% catch probability. The problem is, even though I'm a huge football fan and baseball fan, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, does that mean that the greatest catch ever, the David Tyree catch where he had the helmet catch, what percent was that? Was that like 6%? Because then if so, then that one's 22%. But if the David Tyree catch was, 1%, well, then no, that catch should be 14%. It's a hard thing for fans to wrap their heads around.
There are some numbers that we just don't even need to know. Like leave those for the front office to decipher. I think I like Statcast on the field. I like seeing sprint speed. I think that's so cool when they do that. Give me sprint speed, give me the distance they cover, and that's all I need. Don't tell me the percentage of catch, because there's a lot of external factors that probably don't get put into this. Like you're talking about football and a 22% probability catch. What does that take into account like who the defender is and how close he is and how they're battling, how you're feeling on that day, like what the situation in the game is? There's so many different things.
Yeah, I don't know if they can. I doubt it.
Brandon Nimmo's out there being like, if I don't catch this ball, Timmy Trumpet ain't coming in. That adds extra, percentage points there, man. Shit.
An excellent call. Excellent call. What do you have going on John Boy?
Tomorrow we have the series recap Friday episode, man. We have our midweek episode out now. We talk about a bunch of topics, but the fresh stuff will come out tomorrow. And I think we're doing it live. We'll try to do it live again tomorrow. There's been an internet bug in our office.
We'll do it live.
We'll try. You?
Latest episode of the Rose Rotation is out. We had Miguel Rojas earlier this week. We've got Josh Rojas of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Really good kid. He did the interview from his parents' home, which was a lot of fun. We got to meet his dog, who was chewing on a cork coaster, which drove me nuts because I hate it when dogs are chewing on shit. Just makes me scared. But he was really funny. Good kid, good energy. He grew up in Arizona. He's one of the first guys to ever grow up in Arizona and then play for the team that he rooted for out there as a kid. Thought that was neat. Nice kid. We would be remiss if we didn't do one other thing. And I know that he's been a little bit of a punching bag on this show and nationwide, and that is Tony La Russa in his return to the dugout. Okay. We understand there is a baseball side of things. There is a life side of things. He is unfortunately going to be away from the team. He is going to see medical specialists for something that he's dealing with. We wish him the best.
Sure.
What we say is about him baseball-wise. And whether we think that he's doing a good job or a poor job, the man's got a family. We hope he does well. We hope that he can return to the dugout at some point, whether that is later this year, next year, whatever it is. We just wish him good health and good thoughts. That's all. Okay. We will be back at it again on Friday. So for our outstanding producer, the one and only Dan Rourke, that is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday on Baseball Today.